drawing box. Let's pick nice, happy pencil. Yeah, this is a Skullblood Art Club, and think of it as Bob Ross for weirdos. Although Bob Ross was his own weirdo, wasn't he? I'm picking a pencil here, and just gonna do some rough stuff just to kind of warm it up. I haven't done any drawing today yet, so want to kind of feel it out, get the hand and brain working in coordination with each other. One of my favorite things to draw is my little goblin dude, Junkpuff, and he really is just a ball on a little cylinder here. That ball and cylinder is pretty much what you need to get started drawing Junkpuff. See, like, got some line of action going on there. Just drawing some different ones, and I'll fill these in, but do 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 boo boo boo. That's some different stuff there. I'll go back in, figure out like where his features are going to go. He's very much like one of those deep sea anglerfish, and he also has kind of like Jack Skellington proportions to his face, where the large eyes are in relation to the mouth on a ball. You know what I mean? So he's got a huge mouth. He's got a big underbite with 3 jagged teeth. He's got the big ears, which, if we're talking about Jack Skellington and familiarity in a character, the big ears very much feel like not just like Goblin, but recalls Yoda and that endearing quality about a character. They can be expressive. They can like go down like a cat's ears, when he's like dismayed, depressed, shocked, scared. Having his shoulders up next to his head. Like that. He's got this kind of black garment made of fur or feathers. I guess I like to imagine feathers. I like to think sometimes I wouldn't mind doing a story about like a raven or something who hates him as like Junkpuff's arch enemy. And the reason is we find out there's a big patch of feathers missing from that raven. And it's because Junkpuff snagged him to make his garment, his little tunic. Got little claw hands. And I fiddled a lot with just how short or long or fat his body should be, and finally arrived at something where I felt pretty good about. He's not very big. He's a little dude. Mischievous, but often finding himself as the butt of the joke. When I ink these in, I always try to approach the garment, anything that's pure black on him outside of a background like that. When you see Snoopy's ears, how they're filled in kind of like scribbly. Love that. I don't know why, but as a kid that really affected me. Like, man, he made a conscious decision, Chuck Schultz, not to fill that in with a nice flat black, but that scribbliness feels good. not much of patter going on here because really this is also largely me trying to figure out my mic levels and seeing what sounds good, where I should have the gain, all that good stuff. I'll try and keep this little dude loose, you know. And when I go back into ink, if I'm going to ink something like these are just sketches, obviously, but if I was going to ink these, I would clean them up a little bit in that inking process, you know. I'm trying to keep the inking loose too. I try and approach that very much like a dip pen, you know, like I'm using a speedball or other kind of nib with a holder and just dipping it into the ink in order to get that sort of scratchiness, you know what I mean? That feels very tactile, you know what I mean? So I try and choose Photoshop brushes that feel that way. I think the Crispy is probably my favorite currently. And I try and think through inking those images like I was dipping a pen and like dragging it across paper with tooth, and that tactileness and that unevenness, and I don't try and get you know, perfect lines and perfect circles, you know what I mean? Try very much to get that same sort of hazard line occasionally, and scratchiness of it all, you know? That feels right. A little bit of too much of an ear there. Now we definitely trim that back a little bit. But those are some warm-up images, and I'm probably going to go ahead and stop and post this and check it out, see what my volume levels are like, you know. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of warm up a bit and also talk about what some of my thinking is like while drawing, and maybe next time I'll do the same and ink them in, and we can talk more about trying to ape that sort of tactile feel in something that's really smooth and digital and clean, and, you know, sort of tries to defy that at every step. So anyway, Skull Blood Art Club, man, thanks for showing up today, and yeah, click on another video, man. Okay, bye.